Welcome back, history finders. Today, we step behind the rusted gates. Last time, we watched the steel skeleton of Gary Works fall to the earth. But tonight, we cross into Michigan. We are standing right outside the heavy masonry walls of the Packard Automotive Plant on East Grand Boulevard. Look at these bricks. They have weathered decades of Detroit winters, indifference, and silence. This was never just a factory. It was a concrete cathedral built to move the entire world on four wheels. Back in 1903, a visionary by the name of Albert Kahn sat down at his drafting table. He did something radical. He decided to build with reinforced concrete. People called him crazy. They said concrete would crumble under the heavy vibration of machinery. Kahn proved them all wrong. He poured iron and stone into a shape that would outlast the very men who laid the foundations. Step inside with me. Listen to the wind echoing through these long, empty bays. At its peak, this single complex stretched across 3.5 million square feet of manufacturing space. Think about that number. 3.5 million square feet of pure, unadulterated human ambition. Thousands of workers walked these floors every single shift. They carried lunch pails filled with coffee and sandwiches. They didn't just build cars. They built luxury. They built machines that kings and presidents fought to own. Packard was the gold standard. If you drove a Packard, you had arrived. The craftsmanship here was legendary. Every engine hand-fitted, every body panel hammered to absolute perfection by artisans who took immense pride in their labor. But history has a way of turning corners very quickly. When the world plunged into global conflict, Packard didn't hesitate. They cleared the assembly lines. They retooled every square inch of this sprawling labyrinth. Right here, in these very rooms, they built the Rolls-Royce Merlin aircraft engines. Thousands of them. Powering the P-51 Mustangs that turned the tide of the skies over Europe. Imagine the deafening roar of those V16 engines testing on site. The whole neighborhood must have vibrated. The sheer mechanical might concentrated inside these brick walls is almost impossible to fathom today. Yet, every empire eventually faces its twilight. The post-war boom brought fierce competition from massive corporate conglomerates. Independent automakers like Packard couldn't keep pace with the Detroit giants. And then, 1958 arrived. The final Packard rolled off the assembly line. The doors were locked. The lights were turned off for the very last time. Just like that, an era ended. Decades passed. Nature did what nature always does. It crept back in. Trees sprouted through the concrete floors. Rainwater poured through the collapsed roofs, carving canyons of rust through the structural steel. Look up at the sky through this hole in the ceiling. It used to shelter thousands of workers from the snow. Now, pigeons nest in the steel girders, and wild bushes bloom out of windowsills 50 feet in the air. People looked at these ruins for generations and saw only blight. They saw a symbol of urban decay. But if you stand here long enough, listening to the drip of rainwater, you realize something else entirely. This is a monument to human ingenuity. Albert Kahn designed a beast that refused to die easily. Even neglect couldn't sweep this 3.5 million square foot behemoth away. Of course, many tried to destroy it. Fast forward to 2011. New owners stepped up with grand, sweeping revitalization promises. They held press conferences. They promised millions of dollars in redevelopment. They even staged a massive, highly publicized demolition attempt. Wrecking balls swung against the masonry. Cameras flashed. Headlines declared the end of the Packard plant. Yet, look around us right now. The wrecking balls failed. The grand revitalization faded into empty air. Large portions of this decaying concrete labyrinth still stand defiant against the Detroit skyline. It is astonishing how a monument this vast simply swallowed an empire of good intentions and outlived every attempt to erase it. It stands as a stubborn ghost on East Grand Boulevard. As we walk back toward the rusted gates and leave these echoing halls behind, I cannot help but feel a deep reverence for the hands that poured this concrete and forged those luxury engines. Keep looking up at what we used to build. See you in the next ruin.